Welcome, everyone, to today's Explainer. Go ahead and grab a seat, get comfortable, because we are setting up the virtual classroom for an absolute masterclass today. We are diving deep into Google's groundbreaking new model, Gemini Omni. If you've ever struggled to wrap your head around a dense scientific concept, or maybe you just wished you could instantly visualize those crazy ideas spinning around in your head, well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to look at how this technology is fundamentally changing how we create, how we edit, and honestly, most importantly, how we learn. Think of me as your enthusiastic teacher today, and here is our syllabus. First, a welcome to Gemini Omni. Then, mastering multimodal video, the magic of video editing, and a virtual science trip focusing on protein folding. Finally, we'll cover safety with avatars and watermarks before wrapping it all up with a quick review of the core principles. Don't worry, we're going to scaffold all this information so everyone can follow along perfectly. Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1, Welcome to Gemini Omni, stepping into the AI classroom. To truly understand the massive leap we're making here, you've got to picture this scenario straight from the DeepMind team's testing. Just imagine you're taking a video of a plain, regular piece of paper, and you draw a super basic circle on it with a pen, right? With Gemini Omni, you can prompt the model to take that footage and literally transform that basic hand-drawn circle into a massive, swirling, realistic black hole. Or even the glowing DeepMind logo perfectly integrated right there on the paper in your video. It's like generating an impossible world right in the palm of your hand. It feels like sheer magic, but it is actually built on some very real, very cool science. Moving right along to Section 2, Mastering Multimodal Video. Understanding the building blocks. Let's start with the basics, especially for our elementary learners out there. The word multimodal. In really simple terms, this just means the AI model has the superpower to take in and process a whole bunch of diverse inputs at the exact same time. You see, Gemini Omni was built from the ground up to understand images, video, audio, and text, all simultaneously. So you can hand it a picture, an audio track, and a text command, and it just crunches all of that together to output a fully generated, completely coherent video. Okay, let's level up the lesson for the university crowd. Why is generating a coherent video actually so incredibly difficult? Well, as the researchers point out, generating video isn't just about making pictures move. The model needs to reason temporally. If you ask for a 10-second sequence, Omni basically acts like a film director. It has to plan the pacing, pick the camera angles, understand the physics of the scene, and figure out exactly what happens in second 2 versus second 8 so the whole story makes logical sense. It's doing some really heavy reasoning behind the scenes. Which brings us to Section 3, the magic of video editing, style transfer and beyond. Now, what's really interesting about this next part, especially for the teenagers tuning in, is how we can just tweak a prompt to completely change the vibe. Normally, if you want a science lesson, you'd use a standard prompt, right? Something like, explain protein folding. And you'd probably get a standard, maybe kind of dry scientific animation. But Gemini Omni excels at this thing called style transfer. You can take that exact same complex science and give it a stylized prompt. Say, explain protein folding using a comic book animation. Or, no joke, explain it using crochet dolls. The model inherently understands different artistic aesthetics and adapts the entire visual style while keeping the educational facts perfectly accurate. You can literally match the medium to whoever is watching. And the editing gets even more precise than that. Take the invisible violin example. The developers took a video of a woman playing a violin out in a grassy field. They told Omni to make the violin itself completely invisible. And the result? The violin just vanished. But, and this is the crazy part, the woman's exact bowing movements, her facial expressions, the background, and most impressively, the continuous audio track of the music, it all remained completely intact. Omni has such a deep, intuitive understanding of perspective and 3D space that it can seamlessly remove one single element without breaking the reality of the rest of the scene. And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates why this technology is so deeply human at its core. There's this amazing story from a user whose dad was a chemistry professor. Now, the user never really understood his dad's complex work, so they took his lectures, fed them into the model, and Omni generated these highly visual, super easy to understand sketch notes. It essentially translated a lifetime of dense academic chemistry into an accessible format. It created a real bonding moment between them after 20 years. It's just incredible how it bridges those generational and educational gaps so seamlessly. All right, Section 4, Visual Learning, Protein Folding. Let's take a virtual science trip. Let's actually walk through this perfectly paced 10-second educational sequence generated by Omni.
From second 0 to 2, the model shows us the baseline, proteins starting as simple chains of amino acids. Then, temporally reasoning what has to happen next, seconds 3 to 5 transform those chains into intricate alpha helix patterns. By seconds 6 to 8, it shifts to show the flat sections. Those are called beta sheets. And finally, in the last 2 seconds, the model brings the whole thing together into a perfect, complete 3-dimensional shape. It takes incredibly abstract, complex biology and breaks it down into this dynamic, perfectly timed sequence that a student can just instantly grasp.
Which brings us to a really crucial question. What if every single teacher could instantly translate their curriculum into the exact visual medium their students actually love? Just think about that for a second. Science, history, math, none of it ever has to be visually boring again. If a student learns best through claymation, or highly detailed 3D models, or sketch art, the educator can just generate that exact asset. It is a completely new tool for learning. So, the crucial point is how we handle this responsibly. Section 5, Safety, Avatars and Watermarks. Setting classroom rules. Because this model can replicate voices and faces with such stunning accuracy, Google is absolutely prioritizing responsible deployment. If you want to use your own likeness in a video, you have to go through a secure, one-time avatar workflow. First, you record yourself speaking numbers out loud, just to capture your specific voice profile. Step 2, you capture your visual likeness. And you actually have to include multiple side profiles so the model understands the true 3D structure of your face. This stops your avatar from looking weird or morphing when you turn your head. Finally, step 3, you securely store and then invoke this reusable avatar for your videos. It totally protects your identity while giving you all the creative control. Furthermore, we have SynthID. This is a digital watermark embedded directly into all videos generated by Omni. Look, as the capabilities of AI get closer to perfectly mimicking reality, trust is absolutely paramount. SynthID ensures that viewers, whether they're on Chrome or the Gemini app, can easily and instantly check if a piece of media was synthetically generated. It's basically a built-in verification system to ensure authentic media.
And that brings us to Section 6, Class Review, Core Principles, your explainer cheat sheet. All right, class, let's bring it all together. Get your notebooks ready.
Let's lock in our core takeaways. First up, multimodal input. The model combines text, audio, and images all at once, allowing for incredible real-world uses like flawlessly syncing music to actions in a video. Second, temporal reasoning. It plans scenes exactly like a film director, which is what lets us create those perfectly timed 10-second science sequences. Third, style transfer. It adapts visual aesthetics on demand, meaning you can turn any dry textbook into, say, a comic book style lecture. And finally, SynthID safety, embedding digital watermarks to make sure we can always verify authentic media. Now, you might be looking at the number 10 on the board. Right now, 10 seconds is the primary limit for these incredible video scene generations. But the developers are already looking ahead. The roadmap includes extending these durations, stringing these shorter clips into longer cinematic narratives, and pushing toward more interactive storytelling, where the user can literally choose their own adventure in a real-time video format. And that leaves us with one final, provocative thought to close our masterclass today. With the power to mold reality, change visual style at a whim, and bring complex science to life right in the palm of your hand, what impossible idea will you bring to life next? The classroom of the future is already here, and truly, your imagination is the only limit. Thanks for learning with me today.